Hello, everybody. Sorry for the lateness of my presence. My phone decided that it downloads updates right now. So while it was downloading the update, I couldn't connect. So hello, everybody. Welcome aboard. Uh, Sorry, I'm an hour late today, and for a very simple reason. I totally forgot that 2000 UTC ain't 4 p.m. anymore in Montreal, but it's 3 p.m. So I went to do the groceries, I did a lot of things, and I sat down to set up the stream, and I was like, look at that, it's already 20 UTC. I forgot that it's 3 p.m., not 4 p.m. So next Friday we'll be back at the usual 2000 UTC time. So exceptionally today, 2100, 4 p.m. local. Those time changes messes you up. So nice to see everybody here. This is the Shortwave show. We are live from Montreal, Quebec, Canada. My name is Gilles, and well, we talk about radio, shortwave radio, tune the bands on a software-defined receiver here. As it's snowing outside right now a little bit, and it's supposed to be rain. So I don't know. It's 3 degrees. I don't know if they've messed up in the weather, or it's just that there's a little bit of snow now and it's going to change to rain later. But that said, there's a possibility we'll have a first snowstorm maybe next Tuesday. Don't know yet. So anyways, this is pretty much what's happening. And of course, we are live in talking about radio. So nice to have you on board, everyone. And we are going to hopefully entertain. There's one thing that I find really, really weird is that my CPU load on the software is 90%, which is not usually where it is. I don't know what's happening. I hope it's not going to maintain itself at that high CPU level because it's kind of weird. I'll be checking that out as we're doing the live show. So here we go. There's a nice chat room for anybody that wants to join in the fun. Here you could talk. I've got my first beer of the day, which is a Blonde de Chambly. So a local brewery here. And of course, cheers, whatever you have. Water, root beer, Coca-Cola, tea, coffee, wine, hard liquor. Cheers. So, hello everybody, nice to have you here. Nice to see Arthur's Alicrafter's Kitchen and Audio Lab. Hello there. Nicola Hughes, nice to have you on board. So yeah, we're starting at 21 UTC because the guy messed up on the time change. Bobby Burgess, nice to have you here. WA5107 SWL from Morgan City, Louisiana. We have Sakura DX, nice to have you on board. And back at Land from the Sea, nice to have you here, my friend from Japan. Sean Fahey, nice to have you here. Pretty cool to have you on board, Sean. Matambali, nice to have you here from Colorado. Mark Cope, nice to have you here from sunny Dallas, 54 Fahrenheit. First breeze tonight. Haha. We're going to get real cold next week. We're going to go into like minus 10, which is kind of cold for this time of year. Then we have Max Edstrong. Nice to have you on board. Nice to have you here. Raymond Challoner, nice to have you here. Always cool to see everybody on board. Duxfar74, nice to have you here from Germany. Theo, nice to have you on board, my friend. Robert Prosper, nice to have you on board. And yeah, well, it's shaping up to be a good day for shortwave listening in New York City. It is wet, dark, and gloomy out. Only thing missing is a 2-powered radio. Yeah, you know, with the 2 glow and the warmth that it actually brings. You know what? I'm sure that most people that had like these big tube radios actually enjoyed having them in the wintertime. It was like a warm feel from it. I'm pretty sure it must have. What else do we have? It's beer time. Yes, it's beer time. Here it's kind of windy, cold. Great time for listening to the radio also on this Friday. Andrew Ross, nice to have you here. Pretty cool to have you on board. And it's pretty cool. Hey, we have Mr. Cat that's coming here. Come on. We wanted to see you, man. Come on. Come on. Now he's, hesitates. Hello. Looks at me with his little eyes, tired eyes. It's just, come on. Yeah. And here's Mr. Cat for everybody's enjoyment. The time where I can just go away and leave everybody here. So Mr. Cat is here. I hope that you guys enjoy Mr. Cat with his little medal. So it's early in the show. Nice to have you here. So we are going to put this back up here. So my phone is restarting, so I don't know if you guys hear the buzzing of the vibration from my phone. So Mr. Paul, the cat, for you guys' enjoyment. What else do we have? So Andrew Ross, nice to have you here. We have Max Headstrong says, Shill Show reignited my passion. That's cool. PLF Radio, bienvenue, bonjour de la France. Toujours agréable de vous avoir parmi nous. Nice to have you on board, my friend. Radio Telescope, nice to have you here. Jason Stafford, nice to have you on board. Pretty cool to see everybody here. Secret DX from Japan. Autocratter's Kitchen and Audio Lab, greetings from my office, Massachusetts. Now you owe us extra time. Jerry, nice to have you here. Pretty cool. Jerry DX. Rock Ristorante from Sweden. Nice to have you on board from Stockholm. William Hells from Florida. Nice to have you here. Jason Pongratz. Nice to have you here. As usual. Robert Martin. KF4LRX. Sorry, I'm just going to position Mr. Paul so that he is comfortable. And Forest City, North Carolina. Nice to have you here. KF4LRX. Robert Martin. Pretty cool. Richard Cook from the UK. Nice to have you here. Says very windy and rainy. Typical UK weather, I guess. Pretty cool to see you here. Let me just go down slowly. Okay. So nice to see everybody's going well. So we have Jack N9IIF. Nice to have you here. W5KJL. Nice to have you on board. Doing well today. Actually, not bad, except for the fact that I forgot that the time change meant that 2000 UTC would basically be, 3 p.m. Mick, nice to have you here. It would be simpler if the world stuck on UTC across the globe. Yeah, absolutely. We all would know when something happens. Jason Pongrad says you're becoming a YouTube celebrity. Oh man. Gary Stewart, nice to have you on board. Gary from the UK. Morrison AV, nice to have you on board. Pretty cool. David Garnett, nice to have you here. Shortwave Frequency Channel from Sweden. Bonsoir. Welcome aboard. Cheers, Tia. Let's have another sip. Max Estrong's got cabbage juice. Not bad. I like those vegetable juice mixes that like, V8. I kind of like that. I think the one with less salt in it, not that bad. David Arden, nice to have you here. KJ4CMY from neat Atlanta, Georgia. Pretty cool. Capital City Unprofessionals, nice to have you on board. The bands I have not tuned enough to really know exactly right now. I do hear WWV on 15 megahertz right now, and it shouldn't be too bad. We're gonna tune around. Kimberly K6YYL from California, nice to have you here. Raven FPV1, nice to have you here from Las Vegas. Cyberflyer1, nice to have you here. And I'm doing pretty well. Good evening, my friend. Neil Toombs, nice to have you on board. Neil, M0CJM from Basingstoke, UK. Having to do some work this evening, writing some LabVIEW code for a work project. Lurking in the background. Cool. Yeah, things aren't too bad. Things aren't too bad. They could be worse. Let's call it like that. So, 6 in the morning in Japan. Wow. That means if I start at 20 UTC, you guys are going to be like 5 in the morning because it's an hour earlier. Oh, man. Steve Wynn, nice to have you here from Las Vegas. Brian, Iowa, got an inch of snow where he is. Wow. Jerry DX has got some wet flurries this morning. Too early. RV Bodette, nice to have you on board from Massachusetts. Cool. I'm located in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. Harvey. Steve, what do we have? Oh, Steve Wynn, no, Colorado. Oh, okay. Colorado. Steve. What else do we have? What else do we have? William Helm says we are electing to drop DST until someone found out that the panel in the Northwest was in another time zone. Okay, weird. 2 time zones in one state. Robert Prosper, for similar reasons, I prefer incandescent lighting on cold days. The light is warmer than LEDs, and the heat it provides is welcome. Yeah, there was a debate. By the way, there was a debate on that. I remember the when they started, wanting us to switch to fluorescent bulbs, LED bulbs, because it takes less power. One of the debates here in Canada was, yeah, but in the winter time, part of the heat from the incandescent bulbs does heat up your home. So there was kind of a debate as, is it really, because if you change for LEDs, these stay rather cool. That means that most of what's going to be in the wintertime is really just, the heating that's going to heat you up. So there was some kind of a debate here, but I do think. Personally, when I switched every light bulb in my home to LED bulbs, I noticed a difference on the electric bill. It was down. It went down like $20 a month when they renewed, because I'm on the plan that they renew the amount I got to pay once a year. So for the last year, for example, my electricity bill was around $95 a month. And my home is heated with electricity in the wintertime, and last winter was really cold. Now, I had new air conditioning units running this year. So much more cooling in my home equals my bill went from 95 to 120 a month, which is the highest I've ever paid for electricity bill here. But hopefully, might go down. Hopefully. But we had such a hot summer. I had the air conditioning just rolling 24 hours a day here. It was nuts. MDK2, Matt, nice to have you here. Andrew Ross says the star of the show has arrived. Oh, wow, you're going to drink that in the morning. Shuhi. Cocktail made with shoshu, Japanese alcohol. Wow, I'd like to taste that. No, well, my cat, maybe some cats like Beer Robert, but my cat doesn't. Mark Cox says 15580. Anything here? There's something weak. It's not very strong, but there is something on 15580. I will just close the door because there's some noise. Sorry. So it's probably Voice of America. Absolutely. I'll actually load in the EIBI space schedules so that can't believe that my CPU load is close to 100% all the time. This is so weird. It isn't like that usually. I don't know what's changed. And we need to look at the task manager to see why my CPU load is so high. It's very, very weird. Very weird. Let me just take a peek, guys, because I'm very curious here. Task manager. What's taking so much power? CPU load. Yeah, 100%. What is taking the most? It's not, Wirecast isn't taking that much actually. And my load, my CPU load is just crazy. Crazy. I don't know. So if you guys see that it's kind of slower, I don't know what's happening, but my CPU load is very, very high. Huh. Hope it doesn't impact too much the video quality. EIBI space. I didn't have a new update or anything. I just wonder why. Unless the antivirus or something is scanning and while I'm doing the show, which would not be a good idea. Anyways, open a new tab. Open here in tab. So of course 15580 is for sure. Here we go. 15580 is for sure Voice of America. It's late. It's 21:20 now. So Voice of America. Yeah, they go up to 2200 hours. Yep, and they are right now from Greenville, not from Botswana. The 21 to 22 time slot right now, this is from Greenville, North Carolina. So you are getting it from North Carolina in the 21 to 22 UTC, not from Botswana, by the way. W5KJL says still waiting for the first frost. Sunny clear, 57 in Central Texas. Bobby Burgess says 15580 really strong. We have. Let's go down. Let's go down. Let's go down. What do we have? Douglas Elliott, nice to have you here. Always nice to see you on board. Matt says we're having frosty mornings for a while in Denver, expecting snow on Sunday. Yeah, we're expecting, they're not sure yet, but we want to have what is our first major snowstorm Tuesday. Monday, Tuesday, there's a big nor'easter apparently that's going to come up the coast. And here is going to be really cold, so chances are possible first snowstorm. And we'll see. Things can change really fast. Piet Mondrian student, nice to have you here. We have Jerry DX says almost Remembrance Day. Got to start Christmas shopping soon. Yeah, Christmas. I thought that if there's a snowstorm on Tuesday, I will actually put the Christmas tree up in my my living room. It's going to be, I think it's going to be perfect. I like, setting it up while it's snowing outside. It feels more like Christmas. Hey Jason, nice to have you here. Max Headstrong says, speaking of tube radios, can anyone recommend a good source for Collins R390A restoration? Is Rich Mish of Miltronics still in business? I don't know. Yeah, EIBI Space, like PLF Radio says, is 100% updated now for B18 schedule, which is pretty good. Ronald Zucala, nice to have you here from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. My sync detection works well on the lower bands, but not so well on the upper bands. Is that normal? Thank you. I think it must have more to do with the strength of the signals you're getting than the band itself. When it does sync, look at the strength of the signal. All sync detection are not equal. Some are locking better than others. So sometimes some will sync only on really strong signals, less when signals are kind of weak. Maybe you're getting stronger signals in the lower band, and that is locking better more than anything else. I would look, instead of looking at low band, high band, sync detection lock, look at the signal strength instead. And notice if the signal strength you're listening to those stations at the higher frequencies are less powerful than the ones in the 49 meter band, for example. Orlando Loba, nice to have you on board from San Juan, Puerto Rico. And his cat says hello to my cat. Jaja, nice to have you here. And I'm sure among cats. Scott Robson, nice to have you here. Hola, nice to have you on board. Matambali says 15580 solid there. Alan Willie, nice to have you on board from Eastern Newfoundland. Pretty cool to see you here. Vianney Arsenault, bienvenue de la Gaspésie. And nice to have you here. As usual, toujours un plaisir. Matt Ernie Turner, nice to have you here. VK3DET from Australia. Pretty cool. Richard Cook says All India Radio 9445. Any signal here? Nothing. We got a strong WRMI on 9395 with some music. I wonder if I wonder why there's cat hair on my keyboard. See the DRM signal from All India Radio on 7550. Something weak on 7375. Channel Radio in English on 7285. Channel Radio International.
Here in Beijing, and you have a plethora of different, countries coming in, so people's tastes are changing. And so I feel that, at least here in Beijing, that, when you travel and you go.
Jason Pongras, how was the concert? Concert was amazing. I gotta say it was really, really good. Even though it's Roger Hodgson, so it's like not Supertramp per se, but he played pretty much everything you want to hear from Supertramp. Only missing a few because in Supertramp he wasn't the only singer. There was the other guy that was singing also. So he avoided the songs that the other one sings. But he did sing on a lot of the popular songs. So he did those. It was really, really an amazing concert. What I was amazed and was not expecting, I was not expecting him to do Fool's Overture, which is one of the songs I love from Supertramp. And he did it live, which was totally amazing. But of course, he did all the great songs. School. He did. I'm gonna forget the names right now. Every every song that you could hear, Breakfast in America. He did. Anyways, just name the songs that Roger Hodgson sings, and he pretty much did all of them. It was a very, very good concert. Ralph Bender, nice to have you on board from Germany. Color Radio, are you able to pick up any repeaters in Southern California fires? Well, you have to be on from Montreal here. You got to be on, some of those apps like the Scanner Radio app that you can actually tune in if they are online repeaters from different areas. So maybe some of these apps have the repeaters in Southern California. Rodolfo 65, nice to have you here. Andy Coley, nice to have you here from the UK. Pretty cool. Yeah, nice, not bad, eh? 100. I got 121 right now. Watching, that's not bad at all. Mike Hanna's 261 Canyon Hopper. Nice to have you here. And working on the truck and listening to you. Cool. That's cool. That's pretty cool. What else do we have? Justin Mass, nice to have you here. Thank you. I mean, the U.S., pretty big, the U.S. You can pinpoint a little more where you are. At least give us a state. Mad Radio DXer, nice to have you here. Pretty cool to see you on board. And Vienna has to know, by the way, is VA2VMA is a ham radio call sign. Simon Templar, nice to have you on board from Portland, Oregon. And cool, thanks for the gift. Much appreciated, Simon. Much appreciated. DJK Solo, nice to have you here. So, Atom Bally says frame rate looks a little choppy, not much though. As long as it's, workable, because it must suffer a little bit from the fact that my CPU load is constantly in the 80 to 90% right now. And I don't know why. I didn't change anything, which is kind of weird. No, I didn't have any Windows updates since last show. I haven't had Windows updates for the past 3 weeks. So there shouldn't be any changes with that. For sure. What else do we have? Secretary DX says, after 6 a.m., my favorite radio station, Radio Guinea, becomes very difficult to tune in and to listen to, owing to the signal on by Mercurian station. Vancouver Island DX, nice to have you on board. Just got home. While watching today's show, I'm going to test how well a TV splitter works for using one antenna to feed 2 radios. Cool. And give us those results. And thanks for checking in, Brian, VE7AUL and VE7011SWL. What else do we have? Choppy. We'll see if I'm just going to check something here. I think I can I'm just going to check. I'm going to check on my phone on the LTE connection. That's going to be a good indication of what it looks like. So I'll just remove myself from my network. And let's check myself out live from my own channel. And apparently I'm live. Let's check it out. And move around a little bit. This looks very good here. And on the LTE connection, this looks very fluid from my hand here. So I don't know what to say. But that was very, very fluid. Maybe it's better now. What else do we have? We need a DX ornament for tree. Yeah, that would be nice. radio-related decorations in the Christmas tree. David in Barcelona, nice to have you here. Brandy, says Vianney. Don't go too fast on that brandy because you're going to pass out faster than me. Although this beer is a 5%, so it's one of the, got cat hair everywhere. Wonder why. At least here, the difference, Sakura, is that here it's 4:30 p.m. You know, at least it's kind of late afternoon. Mark, when does shortwaveschedules.com get updated with new schedules? Technically, they should be now, because I believe shortwave schedules, let me just go there. Shortwaveschedule.com. They normally use EIBI space list. I wonder if they've updated. It's interesting to see that the posts on the website don't go past April 25th, 2017. That's kind of interesting. Let me just check here. I wonder where I can see that information, but they don't seem to update too often. What station can I check out here? So if I check the frequency that I'm using right now, 7285. 7285. Yeah, that shows okay, but I'm not sure that the schedules are from B18. It's difficult to know. I'm not sure actually. I thought that this website was using possibly one of the online lists, which means normally it should be updated when the online lists are. Technically, that's what I would think. Hey, Jeffrey Crop, nice to have you here, Jeff, and Simon the cat. So nice to have you here, Jeffrey, from New Hampshire. PA1WX, nice to have you here from the Netherlands. Pretty cool. What else do we have? PLF Radio's got PBS Zhejiang on 7240, good signal. So the Chinese public. Oh, I see that the stream out is no good. What is happening today to the stream? As things are working rather bad. Check it out here. I don't know if it's better, but the stream is game come back green. Hopefully it's going to be better. I hope it's not one of those evenings when the stream doesn't go well. That would not be a lot of fun. Brian Penny, nice to have you here from Cape Cod. Cyril Bourgeois, nice to have you here. I know I did not copy the concert. I did not record the concert. I'm not, I'm not one of those that takes my phone and starts, filming the concert. I actually find anybody that does that in front of me is super annoying. I mean, come on. And I took just a couple of pictures just because to see, to keep, and post on Facebook. But that's pretty much it. 6170 says Richard Cook for Radio Romania 6170.
Commentary on the Israeli Lakiamil. Romania's economic vigor has started to diminish, as shown by the autumn estimates of the European Commission made public on Thursday. The European Commission has revised significantly.
Radio Romania 6170. Lazy Retro Gamer, nice to have you here. Says cool stream as a kid growing up in Denmark, Europe in the late 80s. A lot of this kind of radios thought it was dead. It's different, but there's still a lot of stuff to listen to actually. Welcome aboard, my friend. What else do we have? We'll try to go down as fast as possible. What else do we have here? I'm not a big fan of REO Speedwagon. I don't even know if I could give the name of a song. I've heard REO Speedwagon, and I know I've heard some songs, but I couldn't even, give a title. That gives you an idea of how little I know about that group. Rock Restaurante says, in my house I have the highest noise level on 25 meter band, lowest on 40 meters. I can't explain that. Anyone? I have an outdoor 30 meter wire. Different devices and different things make noise on different frequencies. Some devices will create a very wide band hash of noise that washes out all the band. But some devices will have noise on more specific frequency ranges. So it's possible that something's creating more noise than the 25 meter band simply. Now, another thing also that's interesting is, and I was thinking about that one day, and when you put an outdoor wire, remember, like, for example, you have 30 meter wire. 30 meters is 10 megahertz. So technically, your wire is resonating the best at 10 megahertz. If your noise level coincides with like 10, 11 megahertz, somewhere around there, maybe it's because on that frequency range, it actually is so good that you just pick up more noise. But, it's possible that something around you is creating noise on more of that specific range, honestly. What else do we have? Philip Jones, nice to have you on board from Lustery, Flintshire, North Wales, and getting Romania on 6170, pretty good. PLF Radio's got RRI on 7310, cool. So very nice. Okay, cool. So solid. I did, because I saw the I've got a indicator for the stream, which has different colors. And my cat is, I don't know, sneezing. So anyways, it came orange, which usually means that at the other end, at YouTube's end, it doesn't, the stream isn't good. So, but I just stopped for a second and then started again and came back green. Let's hope it's going to hold. I really wish not to have one of those streams with tons of problems today. Raymond Challenger says 6170 is 40 signal in West Yorkshire. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. What else do we have? Vianney says the brandy is my medicine. There's a Facebook joke that I found kind of funny. Somebody posted and said, and the joke said, please be careful not to drink too much tea because it really isn't good for you. I was drinking beer all night at the bar and I came home and my wife had been drinking tea all night. And he says, my wife was hysterical and just like, shouting, and I was just, very, very, just peaceful and relaxed, and I went to bed. So, the problem is the tea, not the alcohol or the beer. Mickey Dalmanch, nice to have you here from Alberta. While going through some old radio stuff, I found a CD that CRI sent me of Chinese traditional music. I wonder if this is the same music used on Fire Trek. Oh, that would be so fun that you could put the CD on. Oh, they're on track 4 right now for the Fire Trek. that would be simply amazing. Oh, God. I'm trying to find it. I don't know where I put it. I got a 4-track cassette sent to me from Radio Romania of Romanian music. 90-minute. And I got that by mail like 10 years ago or something. And I'm trying to find it because I was like, wow, this is so cool. 4-track cassette. Okay. And I have a KBS World Radio CD with Korean. It's Korean plays, like all sorts of theater plays that are on the tracks. Of course, it's all in Korean, so I don't understand a word. I actually gave it to a friend of mine that does speak Korean. So I had that too. J.D. Williamson, nice to have you on board, my friend. Nice to have David in Barcelona. I think I said hello. Mark Cobb says shortwaveschedule.com hasn't been that accurate lately. Yeah. Try it this week again and see if it's still kind of not very accurate. Because if you look at EIBI space schedules, they've been updated really, only a couple of days ago. So the other place that you can go to that's updated is short-wave.info. And there the schedules are updated if you're searching for frequencies. Also, Jerry the XS 20-meter band was booming last Sunday. Picked up the West Coast and Mexico City. Great DX. Wow, cool. PLF Radio says shortwave.am and short-wave.info are updated. So these are 2 other resources that you can try. Mark, if shortwaveschedules.com isn't. Alan Wheely says Channel Radio International on 7445 direct from Urumqi transmitter, currently with musical sign on in Hungarian. Let's try 7445. Anything here? Something very weak. And for those that were saying that Romania is also strong on 7310, indeed, 7310, Radio Romania.
Awareness. The online environment and social media became the main channels for attracting tourists here. In 2018, there was already a surge in the number of tourists, but it was deemed insufficient by the level here. Hashtag
Lacrosse, nice to have you here. I got a free radio, and should I buy a PL310 ET? If you buy that, you're going to be very happy, honestly. It is going to be a very, very good radio for you. Talking of free radio, I had this funniest comment this week on the channel. A guy in India posted a comment, says, "You look like rich Canadian. Please send me free radio." I was like, okay, really? I wouldn't go out and, like on a channel and say, "Oh, you look like a rich whatever, and can you send me a free computer?" I don't know. It's just funny. But the phrase was just perfect, You look like a rich Canadian. Can you send me a free radio, please? Thank you. What? Oh, man. Riding the storm out, says William Helms. It rings a bell, but I will need, after the show, I need to listen to REO Speedwagon, and I'm sure I'm going to like, oh, this and that and that is amazing. So, Mark Cope says REO is always a great live show. Well, probably. VNA says 6170 AM pick 30 dB. Pretty good. Pretty good. What's on 6120, Raymond Challenger? Get Mondrian student says, I've noticed noise on the 50-ohm cable in the house while swamping shortwave reception when the radio is near it. There's a lot of radio noise around the house. Honestly, you just go. I take a portable radio here and I start going around just my office here, and you have highs and lows. So, for example, if I want to try to listen to a signal in my office, the best place is either on the next to the window here on that window is that side, but also on the at the back of the room here. There's kind of a spot where there's less noise than anywhere else. But honestly, if I want to really listen, you gotta go to I gotta go to the kitchen, or that's probably the best. It's noisy, but it's not as noisy as the rest of the house. Let's call it like that. Richard Cook says the Cuban lady should be on 11635, but doesn't hear it. Let's see here. Yeah, it's there. It's not super strong, but it's there. 11635 HM01. Mark Cope says Cuban lady strong in Dallas. Bianni says brandy and beer equals prescription tea. It will forbid. Oh God. VK2FBAJ. Nice to have you here from Sydney, Australia. I do believe someone recorded Fire Drake off a satellite feed and made a CD. It's totally possible, I can tell you that. F4IDL, nice to have you here from France. Always cool to have everybody here. Bienvenue, bonjour. Arthur's Alleycrafter's Kitchen Audio Lab have cassettes of Ring of Moscow and Moscow Mailbag that I need to digitize one of these days, along with my dad's reel-to-reel of when he heard Sputnik. That would make amazingly cool videos to post also. Rock Ristorante says, during the weekend I will do the experiment to change the antenna length between 10 and 40 meters and see if there's any change. Yes, next Saturday the 17th of November, next Saturday, is a VHF UHF show, absolutely. And tomorrow there is no show. Tomorrow is my Saturday off. Billy Laptop, nice to have you on board. Fire Drake on iTunes. Bianni Arsenault says, U.S. Air Force often uses 11220 USB for phone calls. Plane to the station or plane to private phone. I've never heard that. It was very interesting. I've heard a few interesting transmissions during the past week that seemed to be some kind of U.S. Army or even I was wondering if it wasn't like the U.S. Navy in the 4 and 5 megahertz areas. It was kind of interesting. Well, you know what, William? I kind of find it cool to hear Fire Drake. There's some kind of, it's typical Chinese. It sounds Chinese, you know? Nathan Petrovsky, nice to have you here. How would one of these do on FM? Let me check that out. Flatwave, air, VHF, UHF. Well, they should technically work well because they are pretty much in the frequency ranges that the VHF, frequencies that it tunes in. I would guess that would not be bad at all. Honestly. Richard is receiving CHU on 7850. That's a time signal from here in Ottawa, Canada. I've got a weird. This is pretty good. Help Catalin, nice to have you here. Just joined on device. Have you connected the HD SDR software running on your big screen in the back? Actually, my SDR is not connected to the PC here. It's on a wire. It's on my network. So the SDR, which is an off-edging, is on my router, connected to the router. This is receiving it through my home network on my desktop computer. You know what, David Arden, it's when just refresh Dexpar if I'm at 360 because it's here the output is perfect. Refresh. It's gonna come back at 720. That's like the little FRS, GMRS talkies when they put 50 miles on the package. And I always joke, yeah, you can get 50 miles if you're on a lake and that the wind is blowing from the northeast at 14 kilometers per hour, which is exactly what they did to get 50 kilometers. It's like, yeah, right. So what else do we have? Anything here on 11.220? I got some noise today. I've got some noise. $11,780, Brazil coming in well. O deputado entende que agora o novo governo precisa focar na volta do crescimento econômico e, segundo ele, passa pela reforma da Previdência. Sem a reforma, voltamos a cenário aqui o Brasil corre o risco de enfrentar uma crise como a da Grécia. Ele cita estudos de economistas para lembrar que o país... So Brazil's coming in well in 11,780. What else do we have? It's funny because you used to have to be they changed something. You used to have to be a moderator to share a link, and now people are sharing a link without being moderators. I don't understand that one. And yes, please ask permission for sharing links. It is very important. I have an echo in my audio. I've got nothing changed, so it shouldn't be. I might have a little bit of echo because I don't have any padding or anything in the room, but nothing, absolutely nothing has changed right now. Richard Cook, M12 due in 8 minutes on 6859. 6859. Let's check that out. We'll see if something shows up here. 6859. So take care, Matt, and cool. What else do we have? Mark T. Is a counterpoise ground wire a good option for a person like me with such hard earth for driving an 8 feet ground stake? It's possibly going to help, but just be careful about one thing. It's that you depending on how you set up, a ground isn't always working well, or doesn't always. It often is overrated, I'll say. But there are cases where it's really amazing and does help, but there are cases where it doesn't. The best is to try it, honestly. It will do some good, Hey, our friend in Greece, nice to have you on board. As VK2FBAJ says, yes, counterboys wires are good, but they are a compromise. The more wire radials you can connect to the antenna, the better. Yeah, it's possible. Sometimes there's weird things happening in the audio. The other day I was listening to a YouTube feed, and I had not noticed that I had opened the feed twice. I just didn't notice. And there was always this little, very, very slight delay. So I was like, wow, this is so weird. Wonder, why it does that. And it's while closing the window, I was like, oh, it's open in another window. Alan Willie says, Radio Exterior España, Spain, 9690, fairly strong. 11940, weaker. Yeah, we're going to try 6859 in a couple of minutes, 22 UTC. So I just put it there, 6859. We're going to wait for that M12 station and see if it's there. So, hey Meteor, nice to have you on board. And don't forget that tonight is Friday. So tonight at 0000 UTC, Spain will be in English at 0000. At 2300, sorry, I said 0000. At 2300, Spain will be in Spanish on 9690, 12030. So we'll be checking that out. It's a little more than an hour's time from now. So pretty cool to have everybody here. We're waiting for that M12 number station thing. I'm gonna actually fire up my tablet on the number station on the Priom website. Priom. I'm gonna check that out from here. PR. There we go. Nothing like a autofill that says, "Oh, you want to go there?" Yeah, please do. So you're watching the Shortwave Show. We're already an hour into the show, by the way. Just going fast. So it's CW mode. Let me change in CW and see if it's better, if I hear it. Will I hear anything? Where's M12 from? I'm trying to... So this is 2200 UT. 22 M12. At 2220 is on 7459. I'll try that one too. Oh, I hear it. I just heard... I hear it. It's not very strong though. Whoops. It's in the noise, but I hear the Morse code. 6859 CW. It's obviously there. So I can hear the CW. It's weak, but it's there. M12 is there. That's kind of nice. So what else do we have? Killer for Radio 3985, Radio Tirana, good signal. Cool. JD Williamson, anyway, so if you would buy a new radio or antenna, what are the criteria you would look for? I would mostly purchase a radio that is known to be a good radio, according to some reviews, first of all, and then look at what type of radio I want to have. Do I want to have single sideband capability? For example, right now, if I would buy one, I would probably buy the XH Data D808, which is getting amazing reviews everywhere. and it does everything I want. It has single sideband. It's a general coverage up to 30 megahertz. That would be what I would look for mostly. Check out if the reviews are good about it. Then, of course, you got to think about how much money you've got to spend for a radio and all of that. Hey Meteor, yes, the ICOM ICR20 right here in the back. It's a great little receiver. Love the fact that you can listen to 2 frequencies at the same time. I often use it too. I love it. Sakura DX says can catch Radio Exterior both on 9690 and 11940. Ralph Bender says time for the thumbs up. Meteor, my antenna on the R20 is a wideband 30 megahertz to 1300 megahertz telescopic that I purchased 20 some years ago, and it's you just adjust it depending on the frequency you're listening to try to kind of tune more or less to the frequency. Al Catalan, ham it up, seems to be good. The other SDR you're talking about, I don't know. The AirSpy apparently is not bad. I'm using a AFEDRI, AFEDRI, which is a general coverage, long wave, medium wave, short wave. So still hearing M12, Morse code, 6859, CW. What else do we have? What else do we have? Ralph Bender says M12 clear. Cool. Nice. Mark Fisher, nice to have you here from Southern Illinois. 6859 Bobby, and CW mode. So it's if you're tuning, for those that are tuning with a regular receiver that doesn't have CW, tune to 6858 upper sideband, and you'll hear it. 6858 upper sideband. Rock Ristorante's got 6859 very strong. Bobby Burgess says nothing on 6859. Pied Mondrian student, XH data is great, just got $175 US at Radio World, received North Carolina. Radio Wow, or whatever. Artie Gideon, nice to have you here. Randy from Riverside, California. Richard Cook's got it strong. Pretty cool to see, I think it's the first time I hear the M12 thing. Pretty cool. Philip Jones, nice to have you here. Just getting a signal, 6859 or 60. Cool. Sakura DX got the same antenna. It's a great little antenna. It's nice to have that antenna on the R20. It's a lot of fun. So M12. We're going to try the M12 on the 7 megahertz. It's coming back in 10 minutes, 20 minutes. It's going to be in. Here it says, according to Preom, 2220, 7459. We're going to try that one in 15 minutes. So you're watching the Shortwave Show. By the way, if you like what I do, you can join and join the people that are the generous people that donate. So you can, of course, go to paypal.me/shortwave. Or simply go to the send me your donations to the Yahoo email that you see here. Of course, I'll post it in the chat. You can also join 12 patrons that are giving me something every month on patreon.com/radio-and-computers. And hope you enjoy the show. It helps maintain the equipment. It helps add stuff. And just make sure that I'm here every Fridays and every week doing some live shows. And thanks for everybody that donated. I'm trying to reach out to people that never donated before, and thanks everybody for the donations. So it's not very strong, but I did hear 6859, the M12 station. Really, really nice. It's still there. I still hear it right now. What else do we have? Hey, Johnny the Xer, nice to have you on board. And we are tuning 6859 CW mode for a number station in Morse code, which is not bad at all. Let me just check out here. Just another thing that I'm going to check here. Okay, sorry. So here we go. I'm just going to check something because somebody's chatting. I'm wondering what is happening. Okay, sorry. It's okay. Here we go. So anyways, nice to see everybody on board. So we are, of course, tuning the bands and checking out what's on the different shortwave. So this M12 is, where is that from, M12? I'm trying to check out here. If I click there, I'm trying to see where M12, no, this is to tune it. I don't want to do that. Where is M12? Trying to find information on it. I'm just gonna check it out here. See if I can find out where M12 station. So M12. Okay, it's a Russian number station. Okay. So it's in Russia. So this M12 Morse code was a Russian number station, which makes me think I am going to try the buzzer 4625 just out of curiosity. Nope, no buzzer this week on 4625. If you guys remember last week, we had the buzzer on 4625 at around this time, around 2100 UT. Actually, a little, pretty much at this time, 21 UT. So kind of interesting. So Dirty Diaper 21, nice to have you on board. Fast Load, nice to have you here. So we're gonna try 7459 in 10 minutes for that Russian M12. So pretty interesting. So it's a Russian number station. Oh, thanks, David, for announcing the stream. Matt says 7490 is good on his BL600 and no external antenna. Pretty cool. Let's try here 7490. It's very close. Monticello, Maine is so close to me that 7490 is pretty much always jumping over. It's WBCQ for me is close, so it's one of those. It's not always easy. That's why because I really enjoyed when they used that 3 megahertz frequency. That one was coming in pretty much all the time, pretty good. But 5130 is often, 5130 I say is 50-50. 50% chance that it might skip over. 50% is going to give a great signal. And 7490 isn't audible very often in the winter time. Most of 7490's frequency that I hear will be mostly in the summer. J.D. Williamson says buzzer I hear best on single sideband. Yes, upper sideband. The buzzer is actually a station you listen in upper sideband. So that's why you hear it best on SSB. Even though you will hear the buzzing in AM mode. It is meant to be listened to in upper sideband on 4625. Sakura DX says now we can have North Korean number station struggling to mingle South Korea. I'll try some during my next duty. Yeah, well, where you are, you should actually hear some North Korean and the Vietnamese one also. They still operate from what I know. No chance for 7459 as their station. Yeah, that's a good question. Let's see if I hear something on 7460. Yeah, there's something weak, but I'm not sure it's gonna impact. I'm gonna put this on the frequency right now, 7459, and we'll see if we can hear 7459 from Russia. I don't know if it could be better or not. It's not that far actually, when you think about it. It's a 1 megahertz difference, pretty much. So we'll see. Matt says 5130 is always weak in Colorado. Hey, Rich, Atlanta, Georgia. Nice to have you on board. Let's try that. 6607. Yep. 4XZ station in Israel. So this is the Maritime station in Israel. 4XZ. 6607 CW. Or 6606 upper sideband if you don't have CW mode. Actually, we'll put it like this. The tone is better. So it's not. It's sometimes stronger than that, though. I will say, but I do hear 4XZ, and this is from Israel, by the way. 6607 CW. That one is often interfering with Gander Radio when I'm listening to the weather broadcast from Gander Radio on 6604, and I can hear the Morse code interfering. Let me check that out here. I think there's something here. Yeah. There's 6501, the weather from Chesapeake, Virginia, I believe.
Tuesday night, east winds 10 to 20 knots. Seas 6 to 8 feet. Wednesday, east winds 10 to 15 knots. Seas 6 to 9 feet. Wednesday night, east winds 10 to 20 knots. Seas 6 to 8 feet. Atlantic.
So Chesapeake, Virginia, maritime weather. Oh wow, Matt, you received a V24 South Korean number station this morning at 1500. That's cool. That is actually cool. I've never heard any of those Vietnamese, South or North Korean number stations. I did hear once the Russian number station, which is in Asia, the Asiatic portion of Russia. And I would actually, I just stumbled upon it by accident because I was listening to Radio New Zealand in the summer at 0400, and one day propagation was really good. So I started hearing a tone, and I was like, well, it's almost like there's a station near the frequency. And that's where I actually found out, because I put my radio in upper sideband and fine-tuned. So I was listening to Radio New Zealand on 15720, but while doing it and using upper sideband, I could hear somebody talking on 15721. But I had to use upper sideband to kind of eliminate Radio New Zealand as much as I could. And that's where I heard numbers. And it's obvious that it was a number station. And while looking and searching for it, and I actually have a video on the channel, 1 or 2 videos, that you guys can see my reception of that Asian number station. It's actually a Russian one, but it's transmitting from the Asian portion of Russia instead, because I think it's sending towards Asia. And I was extremely happy to receive that number station. That was so cool. And it's every night at 0400 on 15721. And just funny. But it was strong enough one night that I could actually detect it, even though I was listening to Radio New Zealand. So it's kind of cool. Yeah, the DJD 1103 is a very good receiver also. Just an amazing receiver. Richard Cook says V24 possible in Europe in the winter. So I'm going to tune the frequency 7459. Put ourselves in CW. Do we have anything that's going to come up in 3 minutes at 2120? 2220. I'm still messed up with the time change and local time. 2220 UTC 7459, another Russian number station, but in Morse code. Rock Restaurante says I can hear the buzzer in Stockholm, but not very strong today. Radiant Challenger says heard one beep 1 minute ago. JD Williamson says 6607 CW, very clear. And Northeast Newfoundland. Scott Collier, nice to have you here. Bobby Burgess, 6501 USB strong. Hey, below 30 megahertz, nice to have you here. From Valencia, Spain. Always nice to have you on board. Good signal from Shannon Vaughan at 3413 and 5505. We're going to try that. We're going to wait for that M12. I'm going to try that both Shannon frequencies, 3413 and 5505, for the Shannon Vaughan in Ireland. It's kind of interesting. No worries below 30 megahertz if you missed the beginning of the show. It's all right. It's all right. No stress. And while we're waiting for M12 to appear, why not open up another beer? And this other beer will be a Blonde de l'Enfer, a blonde from hell. So if you guys have one of those girls that you remember as being, somebody from hell, so Blonde de l'Enfer, 10.5%. This is a strong one. The first one I took was 5%. Wasn't too bad. This is gonna fairly put you drunk fast. So here we go. I'm hearing it. There we go. I'm hearing the 7459 one too. It's a little stronger actually. It's actually slightly stronger than the one I heard earlier. So 7459 is heard Russian number station and Morse code. I can hear it. That's kind of cool. 2 M12 Russian number station and Morse code. I think that's the first time I hear M12 today. I've never heard M12 before. I don't think so, at least. So it's kind of cool. Kind of cool. What else do we have? Let me just check it out. What was that language? What language was a Russian station reading the numbers? I do believe it was in Russian. I'm pretty sure it was in Russian. They were giving Russian numbers. Matt. 15721. And it was very electronic sounding. You could see that it was created by a computer or something. Because the voice sounded very electronic, mechanical, electronic, weird. It added to the weirdness of that station on 15721. So, you know, if you look, for example, tonight, it probably is there, and even last night, I think it's there every night. Let me just check 0400. Yep, S06. Target Pacific, and it's in AM mode, by the way. But I used the upper sideband to fine tune it and remove Radio New Zealand that was just below on the frequency. S06 15721, which is I believe another Russian, Asiatic Russian number station in this case. So it's kind of cool. This is kind of cool. Okay, where am I now? I think I need to load the page again. I just scrolled too far in the list. Let me get it back to the regular time. So M12 number station, not very strong, but it's there. 7459 CW. Shannon Vomit 3413. I barely hear it on 3413. And it's much better on 5505. So 5505 is definitely better for Shannon Vomit. Definitely better. Take care, Sean. Always nice to have you on board, my friend. What else do we have? Yes, please do get another tea. PF Radio says very strong 3413. You're closer to you're east and closer to the ocean, so it probably helps you a lot. I would say. So very, very interesting to see that. Oh, I messed up. PLF Radio is very strong 3413. Yeah. When I say Vienna, I went too fast, I guess. So PLF Radio in France says 3413 is very strong upper sideband. Ralph Bender says M12 back in 7459 strong. Robert Prosper, you need to get beer distributors to sponsor me. Yes, I need to. That would be nice. That would actually be nice. It's funny because I'm looking at the Yahoo groups, and there's one Yahoo group that says he's hearing M12. Raymond Challenger, 7459 Morse now. JD Williamson says CW on 7459 very clear, though I had to notch out the carrier wave from the AM station. VK2 of BHA, yeah, 10.5%, absolutely. This is one of the strongest beer I've had. The strongest beer I've ever had was a 14% beer that somebody had two of, and he's wanted to share one with me. And I don't remember what name it had. I just remember one thing: it tasted horrible. It was the worst tasting beer ever. This is surprisingly easy on the taste buds for the strength of the beer itself. Richard Cook says same here. Not sure what's on 7460. Nissan Greenwich, nice to have you here. 7459 Big Fat S9 in Dublin. Cool. It's Morse code, M12. So you should hear Morse code if you hear M12 Sakura DX. Slavic language. Okay, Slavic language S06. Something like that. It was kind of interesting. I can tell you that. Matt says, I've heard station VO7, which is the Spanish lady, and that one sounds weird too. HM01 sounds a bit more natural. Yeah, it's kind of cold, but HM01 does sound more natural, very natural for a voice, even though it's kind of cold. It's like a very, going through this speed for, whatever. Yeah, thanks for sharing. I forgot to share it. Thanks for sharing, Rolf Bender, the preom.org number station. Absolutely, that's cool. What else do we have? I wonder if M12 is 1 kilohertz off. For what reason, Bobby, you think that? I think it's pretty much on frequency when I hear the tone of the CW when I'm in CW mode. Richard Tribble, nice to have you here. Pretty cool to see you on board, my friend. Bobby says, nothing on 7459 but 7460. And you heard Morse code, or you heard simply a carrier? Lionman, nice to have you here. Are you into C-band satellites? No, I've never really dabbled in all of these different types of satellites. I'm really, the only satellites I tune around are really the amateur satellites in the VHF, UHF ranges. Rich, TAH Turkish Marine, 8431, CW. It's there very, very, very weak. I heard the TAH ID, but it's there very, very, very weak. It's not as strong as as the other ones. I hear it barely in the noise. Richard Cook's got weak Voice of Korea, 7570. VK2 FBAJ says, I bet it tasted bad at 14%. I once had some of my friends' 10% homebrewed beer. That was bad. Yeah, but you know what? You got to be careful because this one is 10.5, and you would not think it is that high in alcohol. And I had one that was 12% that somebody had said, you got to try that. You'll be surprised. And I was totally surprised. It tasted so sweet and so good. Because I don't like things that are too strong. You know, for example, IPAs. I don't like IPAs. I don't. They're way too tasty for my taste buds. Take care, PLF Radio. It's nice to have you on board. Next show is next Friday, November 16th, at 2000 hours Universal Time. What else do we have? Let's check out. Sakura DX says, talking about number station, we mania for shortwave listening only know a bad dose from North Korea. Next frequency 9955 for M12, and we're gonna try it. When is it? I guess it's. Let me just go back here in my Preom website. So yeah, 2240. So 9 minutes from now. 8136 is 2240. Sorry, 9959. At 23, there's M08. We'll try 8136 lower sideband. May not always transmit. But we'll try 9959. We'll try 9959. How about it? Let's try the Royal Air Force Vomit. Yep, that was big. This is in the UK, the Royal Air Force, the UK Air Force on 5450. This is the vomit from UK. Okay, yeah, you're probably hearing Bobby, the carrier that was on 7460. So 5450, that's the Royal Air Force from the UK. So Arthur's Helicrafter's Kitchen, back now in the Helicrafter's Kitchen, warming up the SX42. Cool. $10,715. It's there. Yep, 10715. Not super strong, but it's there. It's 10715, the Cuban number station. Hey Nina, nice to have you on board. It's cool. You're gonna take over Johnny the Xer's place? Rich, how about SVO 8425? Let's check it out. 8425. Is it SVO on 8424? I don't have much here. There's some weak nav text. I don't know if I can it's pretty weak to the code. We're gonna try it anyways. Sitor or navtex mode. Let's go to the receive screen. Man, I hate this interface for just finding where the hell is a mode in it. Is it in the professional modes? Or Sitor? Is it this? It's way too weak. That's way too weak to decode anything. There's definitely some navtex here. You can see it here, but the signal needs to be dreadfully strong for navtex or to really decode well. Hey Shady Pyro 90, nice to have you on board. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Richard Tribble says S9 for 10715, the Cuban number station. Nano 24601, the strangest thing I've ever heard. I guess the strangest thing that you can hear on the bands is emergency situations coming through unexpectedly. You know, I always bring up the same examples, but in the 90s, I remember hearing a boat on fire on the East Coast and listening to the Coast Guard on HF that were rescuing people, and it felt like it was almost like watching a movie, but by ear, because it was just amazing how they were saying and people jumping in the sea because of the fire and so on. A couple of years ago, when doing a de-expedition at the Perry Island, hearing a passenger having a heart attack on board a plane, totally by accident. I just tuned a frequency that I didn't even know that was on that there was a air traffic frequency on that 17 megahertz frequency. Stuff like that is always quite weird to listen to. There are these signals that pop up from time to time that are weird sounding type signals that you're like, what the hell? What is that exactly? Nina says, it's the only room in the house I don't clean. Yes, and you should never clean it. Never touch the man cave room. The man cave room is only the man cave, or the owner of the man cave can actually clean the room. I know. Here is the man cave room. I can tell you one thing. I'm the only one allowed to clean up, because I don't want nobody to touch anything. Let's try 9959 for that CW number station from Russia, M12, which will come on in about 2 minutes. I don't know if that one's going to come in. So 9959 CW, and there's something close. Oh, it's WRMI on. Well, I hear WRMI really well. Stronger than usual. WRMI on 9955 is not something I hear well usually, because 9955 is transmitted towards South America, Central South America, which is opposite where I am. So we're going to try 9959, see if we hear something. What else do we have? Jagged Tiger, nice to have you on board, Jagged Tiger. Southern Illinois Sand, where's the pirate flag? Yeah, it's right there, look at that. I actually took it out to make sure that I remember putting the pirate flag somewhere. So, maybe I should wear it, somehow. Maybe I should wear the pirate flag wear it like this or something. I'll wear it as a cape. So here's the trusted pirate flag. I need to put it up in the back over here so that you guys can see it. I'll do that this weekend. I'll promise by the next week it's going to be up. Oh, yep, it's there. Is it? I'm not even sure I heard anything. I don't think I heard anything. My imagination made me hear something. No, I don't hear anything. What do we have here? Jagged Tiger, 7490 WBCQ. Yeah, like I said earlier, that one is usually not making it here. It propagates over. Monticello, Maine is actually not very far from Montreal. Tim 197163 says 10-4 on the man cave. Yep, nobody cleans the man cave except the man that owns the man cave. That is a rule, a golden rule, not to be broken. Richard says here's 9955 occasionally as well. What else do we have? Oh, but Richard, 9959 that we're trying to listen to right now, 2240. is the Russian number station in Morse code, and that's what we were trying to hear, because we heard 2 times. We heard the 6859 at 2200. We heard 7459 at 2220, and I was trying 9959 at 2240, which I didn't hear anything. William Moser, nice to have you here. Banana 24601, very cool. Sitting back and listening. I have so many CB radios, old computers, and antennas in my closet from my move 3 years ago. I need to set up a new shack. You need to, and join us and tune around for sure. Where are you located, Abonano 24601? This show comes to you from Montreal, Quebec, Canada. And of course, we have people all over the world here, which is pretty cool. Archer's Other Crafters Kitchens listening 7490. What else do we have? David Arden, want to have some fun, rent a boat, and fly the pirate flag. Oh man, I will put that up. Oh man, I'm going to go down and up the East Coast on the Atlantic Ocean with the pirate flag. I don't think I'm going to get very far. So Richard Cook's got nothing as well on 9959. Yeah, I didn't hear that one. Sakura DX says pirate flag. Nice. By the way, around Japan we can't find pirate stations at all, but we have plenty of pirate countries signals. I'm surprised that there's not a lot of pirate station in Asia. It's kind of interesting. You know, and it's true that when we think about it, we hear pirate station from Europe. We hear a pirate station from North America. I've heard a few pirates from Central South America. But we don't hear pirates from Africa or Asia. And there must be pirates. I can't believe there's no pirates in Asia. You know, there's so many people there. I just listened, Abanano 24601. I don't have a ham license. I do have a CB radio here, but I just listen. Richard Cook's got Brazil on 9665. Let's check that out. Yeah, that's definitely Brazil. But it's very weak over here, and it's on 9664.8. Which that is Brazil. They're always a little off frequency on that one. Jerry DX has Elton John on 9955. Turn them on, turn on those sad songs. I'll stop there because I'll have copyright notice from YouTube. What else do we have? Richard says Maritime Coast Guard voice on 8137 upper side main. 8137. Oh, I hear something very weak. I do hear something very weak. It's not very strong though. But I do hear talking on 8137 upper sideband. This is kind of interesting. Well, 8137 upper sideband. Yep. Well, yeah, I hear the voice. I hear talking. It's definitely there. Oh, cool, Abonano. 30 miles north of Detroit, Michigan. Nice to have you here. We're not that far away. I'm in Montreal, Quebec. Paul Smith, nice to have you on board from the UK. Pretty cool. No, Arthur's Alec Crafters, since he's got that funding for that 500 kilowatt $1 million transmitter and antenna, he's not asking for money at all anymore. Suddenly he's full of cash for some reason. And I mean, come on. That guy doesn't have a penny, and they're having and building a $1 million 500 kilowatt transmitter with an antenna, 360 degrees rotatable antenna in Monticello, Maine, with a new Collins transmitter. That's $1 million. That's a few $1 million there. And you know, I still hold on to that theory that it's U.S. government paid. They want to maintain some shortwave presence in case something goes wrong, because they know that shortwave is, you know, major world war, whatever. The internet ain't gonna be, you know, open like it is now. You know, we haven't survived. That's one thing I was thinking the other day. You know, last week we talked about, and I mean, the First World War ended 100 years ago. And one of the things that I started thinking is, you know, we never had a world war, and I wish I hope we never have one again, but we never had a world war with the internet. Because that's when you're going to see that the internet gets shut down really easily when people don't want you to say what you want to say. And, you know, I'm pretty sure the U.S. government thinks that, well, let's spend a couple of millions here, pretend that it's some kind of flat earth nut job or something that's going to operate and pay for it, and it's going to be there, available to us if all hell breaks loose. I can't see, you know, think about it, guys, because there's something very fishy about WBCQ. So, Alan Wiener doesn't have money. And I've talked with Sheldon Harvey when we were meeting up for the CKUT show. And he says the same thing. Alan Wiener doesn't have money. Yet, it's several $1 million they're spending on a 500 kilowatt transmitter that's going to run 24 hours a day on 500 kilowatt power. That costs a hell of a lot of money. Plus a 360 degrees rotatable antenna, and it's huge. Millions of dollars here. Come on. There is no flat earth group or religious group that, and its right mind, is going to spend millions of dollars for building that and running it 24 hours a day. This is bogus. This is, and has to be paid by the U.S. government in some way. It's impossible that it's not that. Tim, 197163 from Winchester, Virginia. Nice to have you here. We were listening to something not that far from your area. Just a little earlier, 6501, we heard Chesapeake, Virginia, Maritime weather. Really? Sony still lists the ICF Shortwave 7600? Wow. Okay. Interesting. Interesting. There's definitely people talking on 8137. I hear that. I hear them definitely talking. Take care, Ralph Bender. It's nice to have you on board. Brian Penny says 8137 kilohertz S9. in Cape Cod, Massachusetts. Pretty good. Rob Webster, nice to have you on board from Southwest England. Philip Jones says not getting anything on 8137. Alan Wiener doesn't have money, Arthur. I can tell you that. Doesn't have millions. Yep, Jerry. Shortwave is king during World War because it's the only medium that goes through without any, any boundaries. There is no border for a shortwave radio, and there's no border for a shortwave signal. And the internet, well, when all hell breaks loose, everything. They can shut down the internet easily. Richard Cook says more number station if there's a world war. Yes, probably. Unfortunately, in such an event, some of you will unfortunately not listen to shortwave. You'll be sent to war, which is not a good thing at all. Jagged Tiger, WBCQ used to have many programs, but either all left. Well, there's still a lot of stuff on the WBCQ, but Jerry DX, Elon Musk, he's into shortwave transmitters. After doing his tunnels with his boring company, he's going to build shortwave transmitters all across the world. Richard, I've not tried really. WWV has been and CHU have been pretty much the standard. Really a lot of talking on 8137. Let's try 4996 just out of curiosity. I'm not sure. I think I hear it very, very weakly. I hear very, very weak. Is it the little like pips that's going on right now? Or Richard, can you check 4996? Is it like just the little pips going on? I think I hear it, but it's very difficult. And the noise, when you listen carefully, you can have your mind thinking that you're hearing something, and there's absolutely nothing. It's just crazy. But I think I hear, it's not very strong, but I think I hear 4996 RWM time station from Moscow. But very, very weak in the noise. And only you can confirm that. I can tell you one thing, Southern Illinois Sand. You don't need to have that much money to have and own things. Especially 30 years ago, you didn't need money to own anything. It's not like today. And I tell you, Alan Wiener does not have any money. He's not broke, but he's not rich. I can tell you that. And and almost everybody I talk to, we all agree that guy doesn't have a lot of money. Not for a multi-million-dollar 500 kilowatt transmitter. At all. It's just crazy. Just crazy. Oh, I got no problem with having money. I personally have absolutely no problem with somebody having money. I'm not one of those that, says you shouldn't have money, Some people do. I'm not one of those. Yeah, I don't think they'll call me out for war either, but yeah, but I can tell you one thing. The U.S. government is paying for that, and I'm sure. Yes, I did, Richard Tribble, that article. And I can tell you one thing. There's a lot of what's in that article that I just find I can't. Sorry. Oh, thanks, Richard. So I'm hearing it. That's what I was hearing, and that's what I'm hearing. Fast little pips right now, but it's in the noise, very difficult. But yeah, you know, I mean, come on. That guy has. They have pictures of the, you know, the antenna and everything. Come on. That guy doesn't have. I mean, he had done a GoFundMe thing to buy a replacement transmitter when the fire broke last year. And suddenly, oh, we don't talk about it anymore, and we got $1 million antenna farm and transmitter. That is weird, and it's just crazy. So, you know, 4996 CW, Richard, for RWM time signal. 4996 CW. It's barely in the noise here. It's little pips, fast pips right now. And it's at the top of the hour in 2 minutes, it should actually identify itself, RWM in Morse code. You know. His brother's there rich. Well, he certainly has money because he's got this big ranch, and he's spending a lot of money in shortwave transmissions. Andy Curley, what speaker do I use on the computer? I use Logitech speakers. So here is a sub that I do not plug in because it just is too deafening. But it's Logitech. I think it was Logitech Z220 or something. They're Logitech speakers. They're not the best, but they have decent sound. And I gotta say, if you remove the sub, they actually are amazingly good for shortwave listening. Johnny DXer 8137 audible from suburban Philly. Cool. Rob Young, nice to have you here. Nice to have you here. I hear the Morse code. Morse code ID. Morse code ID right now. Nope. 9996. At this time, it's dark path. 9996 not making it. Whoops. So we hear the Morse code ID of RWM 4996. CW. So definitely. So 9996 not making it, Richard, because of dark path between Moscow, Russia, and here. But I hear 4996. Hey, Paul Smith says, had a Walkman in my paper route, orange headphones. Oh yeah, those were kind of popular at some point. I remember that, colored headphones like orange and so on. Oh, it's not the Morse code. It's a constant carrier right now. Because of the propagation, it sounded like Morse code, but it's a carrier. It's it's just the carrier is like really, really wobbly. That's what I hear. Yeah, carrier now. Yeah. Hey, I can tell you one thing. If I had millions of dollars, I would start a shortwave station for the fun. Just, you know what? If I had enough money to just enjoy life like I wanted, I would start a shortwave station just for the fun of it. And I would not even rent the time. I'd just go out and say, hey, you want to have a show? Just say what you want to do. And if I like the idea, I'll just put you on. And we would have some, just some fun. If I'd be one of those, tech billionaires, man, I would have purchased Sackville transmitter site. I would have called up Radio Canada and said, hey, how many millions for that transmitter site? I'm going to start transmitting to the world from there. Shortwave Gospel Hour. Hey, I tell you, we would have our shortwave church, and the shortwave church would have, radios everywhere, and we could pray to the DX God for good propagation. Paul Smith says, bought an FM transmitter off eBay. It's called Norfino. I had a pirate station on 15 watts. Cool. Just got to be careful because FM is easy to get caught if you do pirate station on the FM band. And that you got to be careful with. Sounding really nice, Stan. We bow to Brother Gilles Gospel Hour. Wow. Oh, your media whip is functional? Did you fix it? Or did it just come back to life miraculously fast load? So REE, let's check it out. Spain in English. So right now it's music, but Spain is in English. Remember, guys, Spain is back in English on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. 9690, 12030, and a few more frequencies. Which is cool. So right now they should be in English. We'll listen into the music in the background and try to tune in the English broadcast. So 9690 is not bad as signal actually here. 9690. I'm a little scared of 9690 in the end of December when we're going to be in the deep of winter. But so right now is some music. We'll see if it comes in. Yes, your fiance has hijacked your chat while you were gone, Johnny the Xer. But I did give her a very, very important advice not to clean the man cave. So if she doesn't do any cleaning of your man cave, I have given her advice that if she wants to stay your fiancé, she needs to just back off from your man cave and not touch anything. Matt says Radio Exterior España English very good back home on his RSP2 Pro and W6LVP active loop. Cool. Problem, Matt. We all have a life outside of just, how about now, just buy a radio station? Yeah. Like I have the millions to buy a radio station. Richard Cook, Spain in English on 9690, I think. Yeah, that should be Spain. We'll see if they have any other things. Sakura DX, have you come to AKB? What's AKB? Matt says, Pastor Gilles and Our Lady of Golden Radio Wave. Jagged Tiger, why can't we get digital shortwave radios here in North America? It's a question of just not being available, and you know, it's just crazy. Richard Tribble, Tim Smith is an amateur on 3885 AM mode and is also engineer for WBCQ. If I hear him, I will ask him. Fastload says, was never defective, had to wiggle the power supply switch. I can see it, like, just look, you know, a few times, and then it's like, oh, it works. Don't touch it anymore. The antennas were taken down. I believe the transmitters were sold for some other organization that purchased the shortwave transmitters at a bargain because they were used transmitters, pretty much. But you know what's sad about the CBC and Radio Canada International and Sackville transmitter side is that they went really, you know, and we always laugh that the government is always very slow to do things. But I can tell you one thing. They did not want to come back to shortwave, so that really went fast. Let's take the transmitter side. Let's take Sackville down and forget it. We don't want to have that thing back and reactivated. I totally understand Southern Illinois saying that Island might run an FM station and so on. But the thing is, when you ask for the price for advertisers, the price for being on the air, it's not enough to be rich. Not enough to purchase. You know, he might be making a living. And that, yeah, probably. But he's not. He doesn't have the kind of money to have the multi-million-dollar transmitters that he's putting up right now. Johnny DXer 9690 loud and clear. Richard Dribble says Spain S9 plus 40. So, you know, pretty cool. What else do we have? Let's see what we have. So, it's kind of fading out a little bit now. Yeah, it's in English. It's kind of a fade out now. So 9690 is Spain in English. Fast load can hear 3330 time, signal very clear tonight. Let's try it out here, 3330. CHU time signal, not bad. There's a lot of noise on that frequency range where I listen to, but it works. It's pretty clear. So 9690, let's go back to Spain. It's kind of fading out right now, but it's in English. Maritime Bali says, don't forget to thumbs up. Richard says 9690, very strong here, and it's in the middle of the night now. Pretty good. Fast low 9690, very strong. Hey Keegan, nice to have you on board. Thanks, NEDXer. In Arkansas. Mark Cope, S9 in North Texas for 9690. Pretty cool. Well, Big Garcia, nice to have you here. Says, Joe, can you talk a bit on what you think will happen in the medium wave band in the next 5 to 10 years? Electric cars like Tesla and BMW don't come with AM receivers, and Brazil stations are moving to FM. So Garcia, nice to have you here from Brazil. Look, the AM band in its actual state is kind of doomed because what's happening is more and more radios don't have an AM band on them. And the AM band, the medium wave band, is very, very easy to interfere with. And I can tell you here in my home, it's a challenge to listen to a station on medium wave. I always had one thing that I wanted to talk about that I thought should be the thing. When AM, FM existed together, like today, they still exist together, but I mean, I always thought, let's keep, because my personal feel was, let's keep the FM band for music. Let's keep the AM band for talk radio. Why? Music sounds crappy on the AM band, but it sounds good on FM. So why not keep the FM frequencies for music? And the problem is, there's no rules like that, so talk stations moved from AM to FM. And it's not always a good thing. To give you guys an idea, when Radio Canada, the CBC here, moved their two main frequencies. So the CBC in Montreal was, the French language was on 690 kilohertz, the English language was on 940 kilohertz, and they moved that to FM. So now we have 95.1 FM for the French and 88.5 FM for the English side. But suddenly, tons of people started complaining, we don't hear you, for multiple reasons. A lot of the FM radios today are very crappy. They overload on everything else that's too powerful, and you can't hear what you want to hear, even though it's there. Plus, let's face it, 50 kilowatts on 690 or on 940 did a much better job at the coverage of an entire territory than using whatever power they have on FM. So I think there should have been a rule like that. You want a talk station, we're going to put you on the AM band. Now, that said, it's interesting because, there's a lot of medium wave stations. There's still a lot of medium wave stations. That said, just look here in Montreal. So here, and maybe that could be what saves the AM band. FM in Montreal is pretty much all the frequencies are taken. There's one left, one or two left, but there's not a lot of space anymore in Montreal for, and the big major markets like New York, and so on. These places don't have any more space pretty much for any FM station. It's jam-packed of FM stations. If something could save the AM band, that would be the case. Because if you want to open up a station, they're going to tell you, hey, there's no more space, you got to open it on the AM band. Okay. Here in Montreal, there's an interesting phenomenon right now. There were stations when I was young in Montreal, and immediate vicinity around Montreal, but there's more stations today on the AM band than there was ever in Montreal. It's incredible, the number of AM stations compared to when I was in the 80s, for example. There were a lot less than now. So it's interesting because there's stuff happening on the AM band. They're trying to revive the AM band with different technologies like, HD radio, trying to have AM sound almost as good as FM. But I think they're just trying stuff that's not necessarily the best idea in the world. And one of the things that amazes me is they're always thinking, let's do this technology that's going to bring AM to life. But nobody is just sitting down in their ass and saying, there's millions of radios out there with AM on it. Why don't you just put on the air some stations and stop whining about We need to do HD this or HD that, because that forces everybody to buy a new radio. And honestly, go out and say to somebody, oh, well, all the AM stations are going to be HD tomorrow. You need to buy a new radio. I'm going to tell you one thing. No, there's not that many people are going to go out and buy a new radio to change, to listen to AM HD. It ain't working like that. You know? So, 5 to 10 years, I think in 50 years, medium wave will still be there. But as we are more, we're listening more to FM, and as we are streaming more on the web in any form, maybe it's gonna do like a very slow decline. Honestly, if it wasn't for the fact that bandwidth costs a lot of money, say your cell phone, say your smartphone had unlimited data, and that every internet connection is unlimited, I can tell you a lot of these stations would say, hey, just tune into your smartphone, we got an app, and listen to us there, rather than listening on the medium wave band, which costs them a lot less money than operating a transmitter and all the power needed and everything. But I think AM is it's a slow decline for AM. And even FM isn't all one. I mean, yeah, FM has a better sound quality, but even FM, over the long run, could be in danger. I mean, I was a pretty good AM FM radio listener in the 80s, part of the 90s. If it wasn't the fact that I actually enjoy listening to shortwave, I don't listen to FM or AM radio at all. I stream what I want to listen to on my phone or my internet connection. I don't listen to stations anymore. So even the FM stations got to be careful. Pretty crazy. But, because of the lack of space in many markets, I think the AM band is still going to be crowded in 10, 20, 30, 40 years. But yes, there's less and less radios out there that do have the AM band on it, and that could make a difference, honestly. Johnny the Extra says, Love, she can clean my man cave if she can proficiently operate my AOR AR-DV1 or make me chocolate cake, whichever comes first. She'll probably choose the chocolate cake. Oh, man. Man, crazy. Well, Chinese components smell pretty much the same as electronic components. Digital shortwave receivers, well, there's DRM, but DRM is the worst crap digital stuff. Oh, I've never, nope. Sakura DX, never. Let's go down a little far. A little far. Going down, going down, going down. What do we have? Let's try 6955. Nope. Nothing much here. What's that? 58, 59. Ah, man. Okay, Matt. Brad. Recording 9690 on an R20. Cool. What else do we have? Sakura Green Monster Radio sounds like some huge fence. Bonano says, as soon as you're done with your broadcast, I'm pulling out my equipment and setting my office up. Yes, you need to. You need to. Matt says, as long as Jill doesn't cut the show short. Richard Tribble says, CH23330 is S9 plus 20 for good signal. So, yeah, when you lose the feed or something happens, it just got to... I see sometimes that YouTube must have some glitches. It happens from time to time that I see, for example, the counter go up at a specific level, and then it drops by 20 in one shot. It's like, whoa, some branch of YouTube just lost something. Absolutely, David. A lot of young people don't know what AM radio is, and I can tell you some young people don't even know AM FM. They just stream whatever they or listen to podcasts. The best way that the young generation today listens to its music? Via YouTube. Hey, Arthur's Other Crafters Kitchen, no problem. And I'm happy. It's, like I say, if you have a YouTube channel that talks about radio, let me know. I'll be happy to share it with everybody. Get you more subscribers and just share the goodness of radio. It's not a competition. Some people on YouTube are like in a competition of some sort. It's not a competition. I got my space. I got my stuff. I got my live shows that are specific. I'm not in a competition. I'm in my little place, and I like to share the radio stuff around me. It's kind of cool. Man Radio DXer says, here in the UK, the digital radio band got a power increase for extended coverage. So less... yeah, it's just crazy. Something Illinois Sam says, AM band is dying. CBS sold off their radio business. But that's I'll go with Max Headstrong that says here the death of medium wave has been predicted for decades, but somehow manages to survive. You know what? There were big flagship stations here in Montreal. When I was around 12, the stations people were listening to here was CKAC 730. There was CKVL 850. Of course, there were the CBC outlets, CJMS 1280. These stations had their big gun announcers, big gun, guys that would talk about different subjects. Each station had their own feel, their own way of talking and saying and doing things. And they were popular. But these, AM radio in Montreal died somewhere in the late 80s, early 90s, when these big gun stations started leaving. But somehow, like I said, there's more stations than ever in the AM band in the Montreal area market. We have a joke here in Montreal right now, which is 940 and 690. That is actually apparently talk stations that should be, but they've been broadcasting music for the past year and a half, if not 2 years. What the hell are you doing? You're supposed to have talk radio. As if they just didn't think that anything about what's happening, But it's still there, and I think it's still going to be live in 50 years. It's just, it's something else. Jagged Tiger says FM is just corporate commercial radio. Yeah, but you know. Evan Arden says very few European countries have any AM stations on the air. Richard Cook's got Spain on 12030 strong. Well, I think there's most people are like that. Son in Illinois says I only listen to AM, FM when in the car. I think most people are like that. They listen to radio when they're in the car, when they do their commute or they go from one place to the other. That's for sure. So, you know. Banano says AM is good for baseball games. Yeah, I used to listen to Montreal Expos on the AM. That was kind of interesting. Not a lot of Europe stations have AM stations, says Richard Cook. But here in North America, I think the market is still big enough. It's going to be there for a while. It's going to be around for a while here in North America. But some markets have changed tremendously. Some changed more than others. Tom Dennison, nice to have you here. Traveling to Varadero, Cuba next week. Do you think I could get some shortwave reception down there? Probably. It'll be in the Caribbean. Somehow I'm not sure I would bring a shortwave radio to Cuba. Anybody gone to Cuba and brought a shortwave radio with them? I'm not sure. Ev Lassie, nice to have you here from Oakland, California. 9690, just going, still there, pretty much gone. It faded out. Propagation has got bad. Hey guys, one last little moment here. If you enjoy what I do and want to kind of contribute to the success of what I do, PayPal donation, of course, is much appreciated. PayPal.me/shortwave, PayPal.me/shortwave, or on the Yahoo email that you will see. Or you can join 12 patrons that are giving me a little something every month and set it up automatically. Patreon.com/radio and computers. And of course, helps me continue, helps me pay for the equipment, the internet access, everything needed to stay online and stay live. And I want to thank everybody that have donated. And of course, thanks to everyone. And please, if you never donated, love the show, why not try it out and give me a little something? Any amount helps. It doesn't matter. Jagged Tiger, medium wave frequencies are just politics, but there is no grassroots transmission or hobbyist show. Yeah. Yeah. You know what? If AM dies, look at these American, American 5 tube receivers are gonna. Sorry, I'm just looking. Yeah. Hey, it's snowing outside. We're having snow tonight. So these American 5 will be useless also. I can tell you that. What else do we have? Matambali says HD radio was a manufacturing plot. All it does is clog up the bandwidth and make medium wave DXing more of a hassle. Well, it's the same for DRM. I don't know who convinced a lot of people to, or these stations in thinking that Digital Radio Mondiale would be saving shortwave, when you don't understand that. I'm sorry, but the majority of people that have radios will not buy another one for DRM, and DRM is crappy. It's very difficult to get a lock. If you have a high noise to signal ratio, it never locks. It's the crappiest mode possible. So there's a lot of it that, yeah, it's kind of a a joke. Paul Smith says, yes, back to basics, y'all. Get your brain working. AM needs a revamp. Podcast took over AM technology-wise. Richard Tribble listens to Sirius in his car. We rented a car this week. Yesterday. Rented a car. A Mazda 3. And you know what? Yeah, it had AM FM radio, but the rented car had Sirius XM on it. You could just, tune to these satellite feeds. It was included in the rented car. So, there's a lot of competition suddenly on what's happening. Keegan says, I run a Part 15 AM radio transmitter broadcasting around my house and the yard depending on the frequency I use. I may turn my signal off by sunset. Interesting. You know what? I should put up a Part 15 AM transmitter here. I mean, it's so simple to build. That could be fun. A 24 hours a day Part 15 transmitter around my house, which will probably not make very far, but yeah, just for the fun of it. That'd be cool. JD Williamson says, let me just go back. I lost the feed of what I was about to say. Where am I right now? Just gonna go back, I just saw something. I'm far behind the chat from what I've seen. Okay. So, what are the questions? JD Williamson says, DAB radio, digital audio broadcasting is slowly replacing FM in Europe, but FM is still here. AM not so much. Well, absolutely, Paul Smith. Having things on demand changes the game. I mean, just look at TV. Anybody that has cable and has these set-top boxes, I mean, are you seriously sitting down at 8 p.m. on Thursday night to watch whatever show? No, you're not. You're just programming it, just record it. And you know what happens to the ads? What do? We just sit down, watch our show. When the ads arrive, we just fast forward and continue after the ads. A lot of things are changing, and it's same for radio. I mean, you can listen to some of the shows that were on AM or FM and have them streamed on the internet and listen to them when you want, not when it's playing, Pied Mondrian student says, if commute time decreases, medium wave would decline faster. Commute time is on the increase, so we'll listen even more to the radio now. Yeah, cleared channel frequency stations. Isn't there a move in the United States to remove some of the cleared channel frequencies? I thought I heard something about that. Well, that's the problem. Like Southern Illinois saying, radio when I was young was you had a DJ. Each DJ had its own color, its own flavor of what radio is about. We would listen into a show or a broadcast because we wanted to hear that thing, that DJ doing that stuff we like. Today it's all mainstream. There's like no personalized stuff anymore. And you just listen in. And I was making a joke the other day. Let's shuffle all the stations on the FM band that play the same thing. And now, without an ID, Try telling me that that station is the one you listen to every day. I don't think you'll even know. Bullfrog 89, KD2CXU from Albany, New York. Nice to have you here. I think, well, we have there's not a lot to talk about it, but possibly still wheat shortage. Yeah, you know, who knows? That puts Canada in such a nice, news around the world. What's the main news in Canada? Well, there's weed shortage. Okay, that's what's happening in Canada? Yeah, pretty much. Anyways, all we hear from the U.S. is Trump, so, David Arden says, medium wave DXing in Europe would be interesting with all those stations gone. Many channels would be open for some real DX. Rob Webster says, digital audio broadcasting in the UK is okay, but only a bit better than FM. But DAB has a very low coverage at the moment. Well, that's one of the biggest problems also. It's that anything digital is sensitive to noise. So the reason why DRM isn't good on shortwave, fade out and noise. And many things that are digital audio broadcasting of some sort are pretty much all going bad, because look at HDTV. Unless you have a super nice, really crisp signal, you get all these blocky, choppy things appear on your picture all the time, listening with the, rabbit ears on the TV. It's just nuts. Abodano says, are CB radios in Canada limited to 4 watts like in the US, or do you need to mod your CBs? There's same regulations. US and Canada have actually exactly the same regulations as far as the wattage, and the regulations are the same. Talking about CB, I think it was Monday night, I like going through the 40 channel CB from time to time, just to see what's on. And was it Monday or Tuesday, or I don't remember what night, I caught someone on it was channel 14. And it was weak, so he wasn't really next to me. He was not that close to me. And for about an hour's time, the guy was broadcasting interval signals from shortwave stations, which totally intrigued me, because it was like, okay, so he's broadcasting interval signals. That guy is into shortwave. And I didn't want to go out, because I thought, man, I could maybe take one of my portable CBs, go out and try to kind of pinpoint the general direction where that guy is. But it could be far away, I don't know, but I don't, it wasn't very strong. It was in the noise, but I definitely, I could hear, I immediately recognized Swiss Radio International interval signal. And I was like, okay, there's a guy somewhere transmitting interval signals on the CB band. It lasted about an hour, and I listened in almost every night and day, constantly on channel 14, just in case. And I would tune around to 40 channels in case he changed channel. I did not hear him again since then. Well, you know what, Jagged Tiger, even in the 80s, it's shortwave wasn't that, that popular. A lot of people didn't know about it. JD one says young people don't even know what a podcast is. Oh, man. But I can tell you, your 18-year-old J.D. Williamson, if he wants to listen to music, he goes on YouTube. Talk to him about YouTube. He's going to tell you YouTube is that thing. The young generation is stuck on YouTube. Bullfrog89 says, I still use AM/FM on a regular basis. I still think of myself as young. Oh, man. Piet Mondrian student says, I have some medium wave DX vids posted on my channel using SH Data D808 last week. I'm going to check that out. No, I've never had C-band or any satellite thing ever here. Al Catalan says, DAB Plus will replace FM. I know that in some countries, somebody told me, we were talking about Norway. You know, Norway moved to digital. And when Norway moved to digital, apparently it's super popular. People were like flocking to get these digital radios. Sakura DX do you know what we Japan Mania often make a trip to catch North American medium wave stations up to the northern part of Japan? I tried while on board. Indeed, I could catch some around 1700 kilohertz. Wow, I didn't know that. Really? Wow. Yeah, CJ80 800, but that one's still around. CJ80 is still around. It's one of the very few stations on 800 kilohertz, CJ80 in Montreal. It's one of the very few stations that exists from the origins of, you know, the 70s, the 80s. Most are gone. Others, Alecrafter Kitchen says, streaming BBC World Service into my set with an input or using an AM transmitter is the closest I'll get to the old days of 5975. Yeah. Brian Penny says, just want to say thanks to Gilles and everyone in the chat. I gotta go. Many different stations on Friday that I normally would not be privy to. By the way, AM will always be here in the US. WCBS 880. Yeah, that's one that comes in all the time. WCBS 880 here in Montreal is an easy target. I probably can get it right now. 880. There we go. WCBS.
An accident west center line between New High Park Road to Lakeville Road is disabled, and that's in the left lane right near exit 33. Delays in the road, so you think about an hour.
That's WCBS 880 from New York coming into Montreal. That's an easy one at night. Canadian Coast Guard 2749 from Halifax. Let's check it out. They usually in pair, 2598. Maybe it's already stopped. Yeah, 2598. Very weak. And I barely hear 2749. I hear it, but it's in the noise. 2749 and 2598. Canadian Coast Guard weather. Amazing. Rodolfo 65. My best memories of AM here in New York City was listening to the giant in Top 40 Music Radio 770 WABC. They had the greatest DJs. Like Harry Harrison and Dan Hingram. You know what? There was a station in Laval, CKLM in 1570 kilohertz. That would take call-ins, and we could ask for the songs we would hear in the evening. I would call in almost every evening when I was a teen to listen into my favorite stations. I mean, part of my young time was listening to music on AM. Mario the Exorcist says, France did a trial DRM test on medium wave not that long ago. Not surprised it's still not happening. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I was talking. CKVL. Oh man, the chapelet. Yeah. Oh man, that reminds. Oh yeah, late at night. Je te salue Marie, all this religious crap stuff. Oh man, no. I can tell you, Richard, it was not before my time. It was there in when I was a teen. And I do remember that. And I do remember the Je vous salue Marie and whatever. All the religious stuff. Yeah, man. That is nuts. Hey, Cosmic Lettuce from southeastern Arizona. Listening to local classical station on FM in the car. Plus, people have serious satellite radios. Absolutely. It is very popular. It's surprising. It is very surprising. Thank you, Arthur, for your kind comments of contribution. Vancouver Island DXer says, my testing showed a 3 dB loss through the TV splitter from 100 kilohertz to 30 megahertz, except around 2 megahertz where the loss was about 8. Interesting. Because it's, you know, it's not that it's, because what's interesting with the, what's really interesting about the splitter, it's because the TV splitter is probably 300 ohms, so there's a loss because it's a mismatch in the you know, from 50 ohms, which is typically what most receivers have as an input. Or EE in French, but it's almost impossible to hear right now. I sincerely hope that that frequency will still be there next summer with English and French. It would be great. Randall Clontz, nice to have you here, says we had great DJs here in Chicago. People like Art Roberts, Ron Riley, Clark Weber, Dex Card. Bonanno had snow this morning. Nikki Dalmash says, no problem taking shortwave radio to Cuba. I updated everyone on my trip in the late 90s. What was happening back in Canada while listening to RCA on the beach. You might want to visit RHC. I met Arnie. So it's okay. I'm cool, Nikki. Thanks for the update. I was, you know, because I'm thinking of going there. You know, I was thinking that one of the things I'd love to bring with me was a shortwave radio, because I want to listen to shortwave from there. It must be a lot of fun. So okay, cool. So no problems bringing a shortwave radio to Cuba. And wow, yeah, you know, that's also one thing I want to do. I want to visit Radio Havana, Cuba. Apparently, they're a lot of fun to go to and everything. So cool. Keegan at Dynamite here. CBW Winnipeg on 990, CKLW Windsor, Ontario on 800, CFRB Toronto on 1010. That's usually what I have. For example, if I do 1010 here, this is CFRB, which is the same station as the CFRX 6070 kilohertz.
You can just change one light. If you can just change one light. That was awesome.
It's fading out a little bit, but it comes in usually really well. 1010 CFRB Toronto here. Pretty nice. Pretty nice. Oh, the last DJ from Tom Petty. The song The Last DJ from Tom Petty. David Arden. Absolutely. Absolutely. Richard Tribble, 1580 CKDO. You know that station is in Ontario. They had a special DXer show about a year and a half ago where they talked about the radio hobby and how people like us are actually listening in to stations from far away. Yes, Piet Mondrian student 9690 French is still from Spain. Absolutely. I need to do that at port 15. Turkey on 5960 says Richard Cook. Pretty cool. If I miss any comments or anything, I'm sorry. Went a little fast in the chat here. Yeah, video killed the radio star. Oh, man. Bob Wester, YouTube's best for advertising. We had a band, Iceland, ad on TV, but it's on YouTube. It's pretty amazing. Scott Provo, nice to have you here. Jagged Tiger says the classic rock frequencies play the same band, same song, nothing else. Same band. Yeah, it's always the same thing. You know, we have one classic rock station here, which is Shom FM on 97.7. And when they play Led Zeppelin, they play the same 4 Led Zeppelin songs. And you're just thinking, well, Led Zeppelin has way more songs than that. Or they play the same 3 Pink Floyd songs, or the same, you know, same 2 or 3 Heart songs. Or you're like, there's kind of so much more than that. You know, it's just nuts. Pretty much everybody gets its music on YouTube now. You get everything on YouTube, including a great guy like me doing shortwave shows. It's the best place in the world. Arthur's Electrafter Kitchen, like a WBCQ site, photo of Wiener, his wife, and transmitter. It's easily $1 million, state of the art. It is a Collins. In the Spectrum Monitor, they talk about it. It's a brand new Collins transmitter, 500 kilowatts. And it's going to run 500 kilowatts full power 24 hours a day on 9330 kilohertz starting next spring. Pretty crazy. Pretty crazy. Really nuts when you think about it. Everything that's happening. Joe stumbled on Newhouse. Nice to have you here. Pretty cool to have everybody on board. Maritime Valley, yeah. So you know, it's kind of crazy when you think about it. So hey guys, let's try something before we leave. Radio Thailand is probably in 13745, and I want to see if I can hear Radio Thailand 13745 broadcast to North America in a couple of minutes. It's at 0-100 hours, so let's try that for now. For those that wonder what this is all about, this is a shortwave radio show. Next show is next Friday, November 16th, 2000 hours UTC, and Saturday, November 17th, we will have the VHF UHF show that will be there. And tomorrow I'm off, so no live shows tomorrow. It's the weekend where I take, you know, some time off, some gel time, doing what I want. And hope you enjoyed today's show. I'm going to wait for the Radio Thailand just to see if, by chance, it might be coming in tonight. Let's hope. Crossing your fingers. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. Of course, it's always fun to do this. We've been on for 3 hours. So the next show will be 2000 hours. I know. I was an hour late today because 2000 hours was 3 p.m. I forgot about the time change. I was still stuck at 4 p.m. local. No, it's 3 p.m. local. So next time we will be at 2000 hours UTC. Hope you guys enjoyed today's show. It's a lot of fun to do. It's a lot of fun to be here. And let's just... Robert Prosper, Jill, do you have a channel like this for computer talk? Well, the one that I have for computer talk and computer stuff is youtube.com/the-official Windows 8. It says Windows 8, but don't worry about it. This channel is where I do computer stuff. I used to have live shows there, but I'm not very. I don't do them anymore because they're time consuming. They don't have a lot of viewers. This one has so much more viewers, so I pretty much stay here most of the time now. But there's a lot of tips and tricks and stuff, and a lot of news about everything technology, so you can check that out. So let's wait for a few minutes before we leave. See if Thailand might sign in on 13745. Might be heard here. And if it's not, well, we'll sign off slowly. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. And it's still snowing outside. So let's check out the weather here. There was supposed to be rain tonight. It's 1.5 degrees right now. So that means it's colder than what you thought. And if we look at it here, here it says it's snowing in Montreal. And yeah, some light snow right now. So, you know, I don't know. We'll see. But we might have our first snowstorm of the season coming next week. What else we have? Is the buzzer hearable on 4625? Let's check it out. 4625. Nope. No buzzer tonight on 4625. And let's try Thailand, out of curiosity. Oops. 13745. See what's going to be there. Thailand is a very difficult one to listen to. C. Johnson, do you ever use any Toriads on the SDR? I got a 240-43 Toriad last week. It was huge. I have tried it, but have not seen a lot of difference. I need to maybe try a few more things, honestly, C. Johnson. He says I made a noticeable difference on the waterfall. I'll try it out. I'll try something for sure. Max says strong. We gave Gilles tomorrow off. Need to re-examine his contract. Robert Prosper says cold should hit New York City Sunday, making for challenging biking weather. It's going to be really cold next week here. We're supposed to go down to minus 10 Celsius, which is like about, you know, in the teens Fahrenheit, 10 to 20 Fahrenheit. It's going to be really cold for this time of year because we don't usually have this cold of a weather. Pretty crazy stuff. So right now it's about 33, 34 Fahrenheit, Abadano. Your fans want to know how many L's in my name. My first name is 2 L's. Sakura DX has the perfect writing of my name. The show must go on. Don't leave. You know you don't want to. Oh, man. I know what you mean, Robert Prosper. You need good gloves when you're riding a bike in the cold. Can tell you that. Jerry DX says, my kid is asking me a million questions about World War I and II and Remembrance Day. Lots of questions. Have him go on YouTube and watch World at War, which is an amazing documentary about World War II, and in like 25 episodes. It's very well made and it explains everything, and it's well done. It's worth watching. Havanano says Detroit's supposed to get snowstorm tonight until tomorrow morning. Wow. We're kind of at the fringe here, where the weather is It's kind of, we're not sure. Not even a peep of Thailand. Really nothing at all. Amazing. JD Williamson, see you next week with Grolsch beer. I could. Yeah, why not? I'll get Grolsch. I've drank Grolsch a lot at the karaoke bar where I go to. It's always nice to have everybody on board. So, nice to have you here. Take care, my friend. The Gilles Aton must go on. So take care, my friends. Hey, Butterbean. Nice to have you on board. And I'm taking the insults. Take care, my friends. It was nice to have you on board. And love you all. Amazing to have all of you here. And stay safe. We'll always, it's always fun to have all of you here. And let's try, before we go, WBCQ, the best chance for me is 5130. And even 5130 is barely audible. Barely audible. And look at that big, big Radio Rebelde Cuba reception of 5025. Overmodulated and distorted, but it's there. Take care, my friends. Stay safe. It was nice to be here as usual. And love you all. Listen to that radio. See you next Friday, 2000 UTC.